Welcome to the deep dive. So you guys send over some interesting stuff from RoleCatcher about wood carving. Guides, job platform info, the works, ready to carve into it.
Let's do it. It's pretty cool to see how a craft like this, with all the tradition behind it, is kind of merging with like the latest tech.
Yeah, that really jumped out at me too. It's like RoleCatcher uses AI to analyze every single little detail of a job, right? Like having a crystal ball,
Yeah.
but for your career. What'd you think about that whole AI angle?
Well, the thing that really gets me is how it could change the whole job hunting game. Imagine an algorithm that's like fine-tuning your resume, making it perfect for each recruiter. That level of strategy, it's pretty mind-blowing.
I know, it's a little freaky, right?
Yeah.
But okay, before we get too lost in the AI world, let's
Yeah.
talk about the actual craft here, wood carving. The guide makes it seem like, well, more than just a hobby, Tough, but rewarding.
Oh, for sure. You get that image of the lone woodcarver, like it's all romantic and stuff, but the guide actually talks about how much collaboration goes on. Like you see that crazy detailed inlay work on furniture. Often that's carvers, designers, furniture makers, all working together.
Teamwork and the different specialties. Furniture, sculptures, even toys. Kind of blew my mind. Anything surprise you about the variety in the field?
The sheer number of ways you can use those skills, honestly. Restoring antiques, one-of-a-kind pieces, that kind of thing. People want that personal touch more and more. So it's not just about the art, it's business savvy too, knowing your market, your brand, the whole deal.
Speaking of the market, that 3% job growth they're predicting from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, that caught my eye. Not massive, but steady, right? Especially if you're
Yeah.
keeping up with the times.
Exactly. And the guide, they talk about how CAD software is changing the game. You ever seen those sculptures, almost like the woods woven together?
Yeah, incredible detail.
A lot of times that's CAD software, level of precision you just can't get by hand.
Wow, I would bet money that was all hand-carved. So
Ah.
tech is key if you want to stand out, huh?
It gives you an edge, that's for sure. And don't forget sustainability. Using reclaimed wood, that's another whole layer, right? Good for the planet, appeals to buyers too.
Tradition and tech, all mixed up. But gotta say, for someone just starting out, it's a lot to take in.
No doubt. That's where these RoleCatcher guides, they could really make a difference. Finding an apprenticeship, building your portfolio, even nailing those interviews, they cover it all, step by step.
Like they took all the guesswork out of it.
Yeah.
And they had those examples, right? Woodcarvers at different points in their careers.
Yeah, like a sneak peek into what your future could be.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's like a roadmap, right?
Mhm.
Taking you from like carving your first duck to, I don't know, crafting a throne or something.
It's a journey, for sure. And you see, at the very beginning, they really stress finding a good apprenticeship, learning the ropes from someone who's been there.
Oh yeah, the old school way.
Mm.
Hands-on learning from a master.
Exactly. It's about those foundational skills,
Yeah.
different woods, the tools, how it all comes together. Plus, you're making connections, becoming part of the community.
Part of the lineage. So
Yeah.
cool. And I saw that they talked about specializing later on, like focusing on furniture or sculpture.
Yeah.
What do you think drives that?
I think it's got to be a few things. What you're passionate about, what the market's asking for, and your own strengths, of course. Some people, they get drawn to that fine detail work, furniture, Others, they need that 3D challenge, the sculptures. And then there's the whole business side of things, too. Can't forget that.
Oh, for sure. You could be the most talented carver out there, but if you can't market yourself, find clients.
Yeah,
Got to pay the bills. Does RoleCatcher get into that at all?
they do. There's a whole section on being self-employed, which, let's face it, a lot of carvers are going to be drawn to that. Pricing, online presence, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, makes sense. Being your own boss,
Mm.
calling the shots, that
Yeah.
creative freedom. It's appealing, right?
Absolutely. But it's not all sunshine and roses. It takes a ton of work, discipline, being able to shift gears when the market changes.
Artist meets entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Two sides of the same coin.
Exactly. And even when you're established, the guide, they really emphasize mentorship. Having someone in your corner who gets it, bouncing ideas around, getting advice.
Someone who's navigated those waters before?
Exactly. It doesn't have to be formal even. Could be another carver, a group, even just connecting online these days. There are tons of ways to do it.
Finding your people. Because at the end of the day, isn't that a big part of it? The community aspect?
Huge. And speaking of that, did you catch the part about the therapeutic side of it all? Like carving not just as a job, but like good for the soul,
I did. They were talking about how the repetitive motions, the focus it takes, even just touching the wood, can be really calming, almost meditative.
Right. Active meditation, that's a great way to put it. And when you take that raw material and you shape it into something functional, beautiful, I mean, that sense of accomplishment, that's powerful stuff, especially in this crazy digital world.
It's grounding, isn't it? Stepping away from the screens, getting your hands dirty. I get it.
And it's not just wood carving either. Knitting, pottery, all these crafts that people are rediscovering them.
Yeah, there's a real hunger for that authentic, tangible experience. Like getting back to our roots.
Absolutely. The joy of making something with your own two hands, it's timeless. Especially when everything's mass-produced these days, the handmade, it just hits different.
That's got soul. You can feel it.
100%. And that's something people crave, I think, now more than ever.
Finding beauty in the simple things, right? The grain of the wood, the way a cut flows,
Yeah.
appreciating the process, all of it.
The journey matters. And I think that's something RoleCatcher gets right.
It's more than just a job. It's finding something you connect with on a deeper level.
Exactly. And they give you the tools to actually make it happen. Speaking of which, what about the practical side? We talk about passion, but what's the earning potential look like for someone going into this?
Yeah, good question. Can you actually make a living doing this?
Well, like with most art fields, it's not a one-size-fits-all answer. Experience, what you specialize in, how good you are at the business side, even a little luck, it all plays a role. But RoleCatcher, they cited that Bureau of Labor Statistics report, right? The one that's projecting that steady 3% growth.
So the jobs are out there.
They are. And if you're willing to put in the work, build your skills, market yourself,
Yeah.
you can make a good living.
It's carving out your own space, right? Not just in the wood, but in the market itself.
Exactly. And the guide actually gives some solid advice on that. Building a portfolio, networking, staying current with what's trending.
That entrepreneur spirit mixed with the artistry.
A winning combo.
Makes sense. But what about those folks who, they're not looking to quit their day jobs, just want to play around with wood carving at home? Anything in there for them?
Oh, totally. They've got a whole section for hobbyists, which I thought was cool. They get that it's not all about going pro. Tips on setting up shop at home, what tools to start with, even some project ideas to get you going.
Nice. Lowering the barrier to entry, right? So anyone can give it a shot.
Exactly. And they even talk about joining those local clubs or like online groups, for the social side of things.
Love that. Finding your people, even if it's just folks who geek out about wood grain or something. It's cool.
Right. And it's funny, you mentioned that whole online thing because even though this is about as hands-on as it gets, the internet's kind of breathed new life into it too.
For sure. The tutorials you can find now, it's amazing. And Etsy, places like that make it so much easier to share your work with the world, right?
Totally. It's like this weird balance, right? Tech helping to keep these old school crafts alive.
It is. Doing this deep dive into wood carving, it's made me realize how timeless it is. I mean, people have been doing this for centuries, right? But it still changes, adapts, new tools, new styles. But that core connection to the material, the natural world, it's still there.
It's powerful. In a world that's all about the newest gadget, the latest thing, wood carving reminds you to slow down, work with your hands, create something that'll last.
No kidding. And there's beauty in that, isn't there? The wood itself, the shapes you can create, taking your time, learning the skills.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Could this be the kind of thing that sees a comeback? In this tech-obsessed world, there's just something about something made by hand. You can feel the care, the story behind it.
I think you're onto something there. People want authenticity. They want things with, I don't know, soul. And wood carving, it's got that in spades.
Totally agree. So for anyone listening who's thinking, maybe I'll give that a try, RoleCatcher's given us a heck of a starting point.
They really have. Whether you're dreaming of a new career or just want to carve some ducks in your basement, great place to start.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the world of wood carving. We hope you enjoyed it, and who knows, maybe inspired you to try it out yourself. Until next time, stay curious out there.